In this video, we're going to cover how to run the RHY 6.1 export. Under HMIS reports, hover over HUD/HMIS reports, then hover over exports, CSV 6.1, and there you have HMIS RHY export, CSV 6.1. You can also find this report by using the search bar near the top of your screen. There are certain report criteria that you will need to select before you can run the report. Select your source endpoint. For this example, I am doing a test source endpoint, but yours will be the name of your agency. Your source type will be continuum operated HMIS. Your state filter, of course, is Texas. And your continuum of care COC code is Texas balance of state COC. Next, set your report date range. What I have here might be different than what you might enter yourself based on your grants. Leave the export date as is. Your organization should already be selected for you. Check the program box to select the program you're going to run the export for. You should have one export file for each program type that you have. So for example, if your agency has a Basic Center Emergency Shelter program and a Basic Center Homelessness Prevention program, then you would run two separate exports, one for each program. It's not necessary to select the grant, but you can do so in the same way that you selected the program. For this example, I'm going to leave this unchecked. Also make sure that the Exclude Deleted Records box remains checked. Click on Run Export when you're through. You will be taken to the Export Encryption box, and you have two options here. If you leave the Encrypt Export box checked, you will be required to create a password for your export. It doesn't have to be your client track password, but it can be. When you go this route, what is actually downloaded is a small .exe or executable file that extracts the files into a zip folder, and I'll show you what that looks like a little later. If you uncheck the Encrypt Export box, then you get an additional warning message. You'll need to check the box below it to continue. I assume the full responsibility of ensuring the security of the exported files and any data contained within. When you go this route, then what downloads is a zip file, and there are no additional steps to go through. This is the option you want to go with if your computer has a security setting that does not allow it to download executable files from the internet. Regardless of what option you choose, you're still responsible for the security of the data you download. Leave the Include Header Row and CSV Files box checked, and the Always Quote CSV Values unchecked. Once you're through, click Done. You will be taken to the Files on Server page. Now, you can already see here that I have my files, but typically these files can take an hour or longer to download. While the data is downloading, you can use the system as normal. You can come back to this page by clicking on the Files on Server menu option under HMIS reports. Notice the difference between the two types of files that we have here. This one has a .zip at the end, and this one has a .exe at the end. Please be aware that RHY will not accept the .exe file as it is. You will need to go through an additional step. Click on the paper and arrow icon to download the file. I have Windows Defender on my computer, and you might have something similar, so I need to tell my computer to run anyway. You will need to input the password that you created when you first ran the export. Check the box that says I assume responsibility for the security of the extracted files. And then you can select where the files will download by clicking on the ellipsis icon on the far right. I suggest that you place them in a folder that you create before running the export. Click Extract when done. Once these files are sent to a folder, you're going to need to put them into a zipped folder. To do this, click on the first file, hold down the Shift key, and click on the last file. Right-click on the highlighted files, Send to, Compressed Zipped Folder. And that should create a zipped folder file. And you can rename it to anything that's easy for you to find. And this zip folder file is what you will upload to RHY. Let's go back to the Files on Server page. If you did not go the encryption route, then what actually exported was a .zip file. Download the file, and it will likely be sent to your Downloads folder. You can move it to another location on your computer, but once the file is downloaded, you're ready to upload it to RHY. There are no additional steps that you need to take. Thanks for watching.